Welcome to Couch Talk. Coffee's on, chaos managed. Let's talk. I'm Lynn.
Hey, I'm Lisa, and we're at Couch Talk.
We got some thoughts today.
We do have thoughts because there's been junk hitting the news. Seems to be kind of repetitive.
Yeah, it's very kind to call it junk.
Wait, I have a hint.
Snap? Could it be Snap?
It's not Snap, Crackle, and Pop, I'll give you that, but it is Snap, yeah.
Well, it could be kind of related to Snap, Crackle, and Pop because you can buy that in a grocery store. And I bet you can use Snap benefits.
I bet you can.
I bet you
Even
can.
though it's crap in a box.
It's crap in a box. That's okay. It's snappy crap in a box.
But yeah, apparently one of the big issues with the cause of our wonderful government shutdown is because of SNAP benefits.
Yep, SNAP benefits.
Well, and it's not like they want to completely obliterate the whole program.
They're trying to eliminate waste is what they're trying to do.
They are. Because, I mean, you know, you're talking multi-digit millions.
Yeah.
40 million and more. I think I saw something that said like 43.
41.7.
41. Okay, so you're talking...
Per month.
These people that are on SNAP. And I get it. There are some desperate situations out there.
There are.
And there's legit reasons that people need this money.
Yes.
But I'm looking at what they're saying. U.S. average is like somewhere about $180, $190 a month. How much does that really offset your food bill in the big picture of things? Not a lot. But now here's the thing that's really kind of crazy.
Spit in the bucket.
It is a spit in the bucket. But here's what's really crazy is that our SNAP program actually does have a contingency fund.
Yes, it does.
It currently holds roughly $6 billion. That is a billion with a big old B in the front.
With the,
It's not enough to cover November. Because they need about $8 billion for 1 month.
Yeah, we actually spend between 99 and 100 billion on SNAP benefits in 2024.
That's just crazy to think that it's that big of a necessity.
I understand that there are people that need assistance.
Right.
But when did it become the government's job to feed everybody? That's not the government's job.
It never used to be the job of the government to take care of people until they decided to devise the wonderful, to lack of a better word for the coverall,
rubber band.
The welfare program. Because this is part of a welfare social program.
It is.
And they put it out there in this kind of idea that, you know, we're going to help you. But when you really look at how they operate it, it's a great way to keep people in their little box, isn't it?
Well, isn't that like the scariest words they said? I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
I'm here to help. Run fast, run far.
Well, but that is the issue with these types of programs.
Yes.
Because you have to fall within certain parameters for eligibility.
Definitely.
And if you go $1 over that parameter, you lose your eligibility and you lose that little bit of whatever it is that you're getting.
They don't have it stair-stepped.
No,
because granted, if you take a scenario, something horrible happens, and you have nothing. The program comes in and gives you that little fill the gap kind of a thing so that you can have a roof over your head, you have some food, you've got electricity and water, basic needs. But when you decide to get out there and find employment, and it's at a job that will help you sustain your own life.
Yes.
Or even, well, not even necessarily. What if it's a situation where you still have shortfalls? You can pay your rent, you can get the electric covered, but you need a little bit of help still to pay for all your groceries and things like that. Well, too bad. You make too much money. You earn enough money.
Well, and
too bad.
That's what happens.
That's what happens.
But see, I think this is where these food pantries and these churches and whatever, that's why they kind of got started before all of this welfare program and whatever. They stepped in and they said, hey, we're supposed to be here to help our neighbors. And that's what they've done.
I kind of see that.
And then the government kind of took that over.
We're not going to deep dive into this aspect of it, but that's just a lot of the falling away from that church form of belief systems that has been going on.
And
because
that's true.
that is something that was mandated in the good book, that you take care of family, you take care of the elderly, you take care of the sick.
But not all pantries are related. They
No.
don't have that religious
No, but what I'm
affiliation.
saying is that a lot of it was being pulled away because
Well, yeah, they wanted that.
there are a lot of people that are falling away from the idea
Yes, of a church.
of a church of any kind.
Yes.
And I don't think much of the government really wants you to follow into those lines either. But that's a whole other discussion. But I'm just saying that these pantries, that's where all that stuff originated.
Well, that's where it originated, but it expanded from that
Yeah.
to other foodstuffs.
Right.
And then there's people that are actually out there.
They just put
that
it together.
Put stuff together, and they go out and they help.
There's a need, and they're just trying to fill
Yes,
a need.
they're filling a need.
And it's a great thing to do, because isn't that what we're supposed to be doing in reality, is helping people?
Well,
but
we should be.
We should be. But the sad part about it is, and we've seen it's a lot hitting our Facebook feeds, where people put out there, oh, I can't make my bills this month, I've got my kids, blah, blah, blah.
Venmo me.
Exactly. They want you to Venmo them with some money. And I've seen the comments, people saying, I've seen this person posting on a
Yes.
number of different pages.
It becomes very spammy, scammy, so that when somebody
lie.
is in need, everybody kind of
Ignores
takes
it.
that step back and goes, ooh.
We become hard-hearted.
Well, we do.
Yeah.
But because of these people that choose to take advantage of kind-heartedness, they've created this atmosphere, and then everybody wonders, why don't anybody want to help?
Yeah, nobody wants to help anybody anymore.
I mean, how many times do you see somebody at the corner of an interstate will work for food, and they're offered a job, and no thanks.
They don't want the job.
They don't want the job. They want the money.
There was a story I had heard once. Oh, this goes back decades. A man lived in Connecticut, took the train into this New York City for work every day. Supposedly was some kind of a business executive. This was the thought process of what he was doing. That's what his wife and family believed. Come to find out, he was going into the city, changing clothes, and panhandling because he was making more money than if he were to hold down a job.
Wow. But I have heard of that too, that people will drop people off on certain exits.
Yeah.
And they'll stand there and they'll be given money.
And I think it might be getting harder and harder nowadays because so many people do not carry cash.
That's true. They don't.
I mean,
but I have seen people that go in because they're in the store and they'll buy something extra and they'll give it to them. And sometimes, they'll accept it, but sometimes it's a grudging acceptance.
Well, I had been out
because they were really looking for the cash.
Yeah, I had been out to lunch with a friend several years ago, and when we were in the parking lot walking into the restaurant, we were approached by a woman talking about, she was down on her luck and all that, and that's what we had asked her, well, are you hungry? And she says, well, I haven't eaten, and it had been several days. And we invited her into the restaurant and told the people that she's here, whatever she wants, go ahead and give her off the menu and just give us the bill. And she accepted it. So in that situation, it was kind of a legitimate thing. She was hungry.
I've seen there's a number of restaurants, and you can see it out on Facebook, because everything's out there.
The land of Facebook.
The land of Facebook. But I have seen it out there where restaurants have where some of their people that are in there will pay money to the restaurant. They'll pay for like a dinner or something.
Yeah.
And then they tack it on a wall. This is lunch, this is dinner.
Right,
these are
right. You see the
breakfast.
receipts.
And people can go up to the thing and they can just take a receipt off the thing and take it.
It's a great idea.
And their food is paid for. I think it's a wonderful idea. The only downside is if people start taking advantage of that don't really need.
If you see it out there.
Yes.
And there's definitely a need for things like that. Or just the bag of groceries that can be set aside for somebody that needs it to get it. And I think this is where a lot of the churches did come into things and food pantries and stuff, because they almost like vetted who they were
Well,
distributing to.
I think so, because when you go up to a food pantry, it's my understanding that you have to show them ID, because they want to know, who is this person? Are they in our
Right.
county? Or are
Right.
we county surfing for food? I mean,
And I think a lot of people could sometimes refrain from going to church pantries because they're afraid they're going to get preached at.
That's true.
And I don't think that
That's
happens
true.
at most of them.
I don't think it does.
Okay, so back to our SNAP story.
Yeah. There's stuff out there like your hungry relief groups and whatever. They're saying that the cuts that they're proposing could threaten billions of meals and overwhelm these food systems.
Yeah.
Which
Well, I can see that.
I could see it happening. But then I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, and this is where things get a little bit sticky with the conversations and stuff that you see out there. Because people are like, well, I've seen people buy stuff with their card that I'm sitting there going, I can't get a card because I don't qualify and I can't afford that.
Mm-hmm.
And, that kind of becomes a sticking point where people just believe that when you have that card, you also have the responsibility to buy responsibly.
But that's not what they want.
Well,
they
no,
want what everybody else has.
And
I understand
I get that.
those
I get
spots,
that. Everybody wants that.
But the problem is, in so many situations, I think some people, I'm not saying all of them, I'm just saying there are people out there, you get to the point where you get that downtrodden feeling that
but if you
things just aren't doing so great.
But if things are continually just dropped in your lap,
there's no incentive to
what
go
is the
anywhere.
incentive to want the more? Where's the carrot and the stick? I mean, and a lot of people need
of it
that.
is a trained situation.
Well, and that is part of a huge part of the problem.
Someone in my family that they were seeing a guy, a man, whatever,
a person.
He was raised in the welfare system,
and that happens.
And they learn the ropes. How you do it.
Yes.
And he was training her how to live this way.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding me? It's one thing if there's a need, but if you are an able-bodied person,
I'll tell you,
you need to be working and taking care of self.
Now, this goes back years, lots of years. When my husband and I first got together, when we were first married, we literally had nothing. I mean, we afforded an apartment, and we couldn't afford TV. We couldn't afford TV. We couldn't afford a phone. And this is pre-cell phone, so there were no
you
cell
could
phones.
not afford TV. Do you mean like cable TV?
Cable,
Okay.
yeah. Nothing came in on the antenna, so that's pointless.
No, by that point in time, too much of the satellite systems and the cable
too much
networks.
switched over to cable, and if you couldn't afford cable, well, you'd be lucky if you got one station.
No.
So we didn't have TV.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't afford a home phone. There were no cell phones at that time.
Nope.
So if we needed to go and talk to somebody, we had to go find a payphone. Yeah, go look those up.
I had a friend of mine post a picture next to one the other day.
And it's like, it never dawned on us. And it was my husband, myself, and we had a baby.
Yeah.
And it never dawned on us to go ask for any kind of welfare or benefits or whatever. And I know that there was stuff out there, but it just never entered our minds.
Because you guys, you had your needs were being taken care of.
We had a roof over our head. We did what we needed to do to be able to afford diapers. And then we sat there and we looked at, my husband's a veteran. Thank God for that, because that got us into our first house. We were able to use the GI Bill, and we were able to do the Veterans Home Loan thing that it didn't cost us, but I think it was like $400 because we didn't have closing costs or anything with the Veterans
Yeah,
home.
going through the VA, because we did the same.
We did that.
Because my husband was a vet as well.
That was a
And
huge blessing to us.
Not having to have that down payment.
Yeah, we
was
didn't have to have that.
And back then, when you were getting into a house, mortgages were
13%. I think ours was like 13.4% or something. And that was considered cheap.
But mortgages, when you looked at what it cost to have a mortgage versus rent, it was so much more practical to own the home because you're getting an asset.
But that's what we talked about. We were paying our rent payment, and of course back then rent, you really didn't have a contract. It was pretty much a month to month kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we got talking about it, and I said, we really need to look at this benefit, and I think we need to look and see what we can do to get into a house.
Right.
And we ended up buying our first house. Wasn't a lot. Still didn't have that TV. Still didn't have a phone. And we ate beanie weenies and fish sticks and tater tots. That was good times, man.
Ooh, yum.
But tuna noodle casserole.
Oh, gross.
Hey,
no.
But you know what? You eat what you gotta eat in order to survive.
And I eat the tuna, but do not put them together with that nasty cream of mushroom.
You don't like mushrooms, so that's not. You.
I didn't like that whole thing. It was disgusting.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, we ate what we needed to. We did what we had to do to get by.
Well, that's what you
never
do.
thought about assistance. You never thought about it.
You take care of as much as you can, but you see the difference is nowadays they see everything as I have to have. Because I saw people when they were first talking about doing cutbacks or changing the structuring or how much you're going to get or what the qualifications are.
They did that back in 2021,
well, no,
I think
this
it was.
just what recently.
Oh, well, this
people
is
were going
a new
off
one.
that. They're nuts saying, well, I'm not going to be able to buy a birthday kit for my kid's birthday. This is horrible.
Well, you can buy the ingredients and you can make a cake.
Oh, well, really?
Probably a better cake with less crap in it.
Of course it is. But still, it's like, okay, so you're going to crow because you can't have junk food.
Yeah, but they did take
because
a cut.
That should be my right. I should be able to have junk food.
Wait a minute,
not on my dime.
There was a cut because back in February of 2023, there was temporary benefits that ended for like 32 states, including D.C., Guam, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. There was 18 others that were discontinued prior to that.
If those were temporary benefits, what were they temporary from?
I think that was because of all the COVID business.
And they were still getting them.
Until February of 2023. Now, 18 states discontinued earlier. This was just 32 more states. The rest of it ended.
It was probably linked to the fact that so many jobs had just died off.
But it ended up being 25% decrease in the monthly cost for the overall program.
Okay.
So, I mean, savings and whatever
it's
there.
Like anything else.
But at what point do we end up no longer being so responsible? I mean...
Well, I agree that, why does the government need to be the responsible party and be held at gunpoint, so to speak, to pay out for all of this stuff?
Well, but I also don't think it's right what is going on right now with Congress and the Senate versus, your Dems versus your reps. I just don't think it's right because they're holding the American people that rely on these benefits. They're holding them hostage.
Well, they're using...
Sorry, no soup for you.
It's not that they're holding them hostage. They are using them as the carrot in order to force
in order to get their way. It's like a spoiled child in order to get their way.
I'm sorry, I have equated the individuals that are working at the upper echelons of our government as a bunch of spoiled little brats playing out on the playground, and they just cannot get along because they refuse. There's no give and take.
But this is where it has to be, where they got to start talking like reasonable people again, and they need to find the common ground.
They do.
And speaking of common ground, we're going to segue right into a commercial. We're going to zip right into a little commercial break here really quick. Speaking of common ground, that is something that Couch Talk has run into and decided we are going to create something to make it a big thing and to have people start having conversations again. to see your neighbor out there wearing a Common Ground shirt, wearing a Common Ground hat, sitting on their front porch, with that coffee mug. It's coming to be winter. Get yourself a hoodie. You can go out and get one of our Common Ground t-shirts, mugs, hats, whatever. Pick one, anything. www.couchtalk, that's COWCHTALK.com, and all you got to do is click on the stores tab, and it'll take you right to our store, and you can pick your size, you can pick what you want.
Oh, heck, you can even throw it on something else that they manufacture.
You can make a tote bag, you can do, lots of different things.
A lot of different things.
Decals. Get yourself a car sticker,
Sticker.
Get a sticker for your car.
But it's a conversation starter.
But we got to start a conversation.
Not arguments.
Well, and that's just it. We need to have conversations because you can't have both sides hollering at each other because nobody learns anything.
Definitely.
We get nowhere like this. You see it playing out right now in our government. So we're going to ask you, join our movement.
Yeah.
Join our movement.
Tallulah will be happy.
She said Tallulah.
Yeah. Okay. So go get your shirts today. They're out there. They're ready to go, and you'll have them in maybe a week or two?
I don't know. When I ordered, because I ordered, I've ordered one for my husband, and me, and hats and stickers for the car, and the crazy Common Ground lady. But I ordered it, and they told me it would be here between the 30th and the 7th of November because everything is made to order, and they ship it out as soon as they possibly can. And I'm actually supposed to get it sometime today.
Cool.
So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
Yay.
All right, so back to talking about how them spoiled brats on Capitol Hill just can't seem to get it together. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're just, at some point, you have to realize you cannot have everything your way. And
that works on both sides.
Yes, it
both
does.
sides.
Oh, I'm not pointing fingers at any one side or the other because they're all involved in the whole thing. They're supposed to be there doing things on behalf of
We the people. That's right. But they're supposed to serve us, but they're serving self.
The thing that is problematic with this is the fact that this is the appropriations bill, which means it's all the funding for the different programs that are out there that they are all deciding who gets how much of the pie.
Yes.
And this is why it becomes so problematic because one side is looking at it as saying, well, we need to make cutbacks on this, and other people are thinking, no, you can't cut back on that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. This CR bill that they're supposed to be deciding on is just to fund the government until we can come to terms on the budget. Is that not what they're doing?
It's my understanding that the whole thing is the appropriations bill, which is the funding that the Congress has to budget every year, and it apparently is supposed to be effective as of October 1 is when it was supposed to be decided.
Well, that's when the new year starts.
The
fiscal year starts October 1st.
And there's usually like 12 appropriations that they have to pass every single year. Well, now we're stuck in this mucky mire of arguments over what we are going to agree and disagree on.
Well,
so we shut down the whole government, and we don't pay people, we don't feed people, because this is the fair way to go about it. They do it every single time.
Well, and it gets ridiculous because we, the people that you're supposed to be serving, are the ones that are like suffering for the whole thing. And that's not right. Especially when you're looking at this time of year. Now we're coming into the holidays.
Isn't it perfect timing?
Yeah, well, it is perfect timing. But I also hate to tell them that their shenanigans might bite them in the hindquarters, because isn't Tuesday election day? Isn't Tuesday election day? Well, yeah, for some places, off year, but still, it's election day. And that could bite some people in the hindquarters because of the shenanigans that are being played. And people need to remember that when they go into the polls, look what you're voting for. Watch what you're voting for. Well, do I agree with everything that's out there?
You can't.
I mean, I get it. They want to extend the ACA. I get that.
I understand that as well, because you can't just all of a sudden turn around and say, okay,
Yeah, this
you
is
don't
going
have
away. You got to pay more.
But you know what? And I see both sides of that coin.
I do
because
see both sides of it.
If you were working for a company and they dropped their insurance program, you'd have a 30-day notice of, hey, you're not going to have insurance anymore.
Well, and it's
On
not
you.
that they're not going to have insurance anymore. It's just they're not going to be able to afford it.
Well, nobody can afford
well,
it.
and that's just it. So you're going to have more people that can't afford insurance, and that's why they're wanting to do the
Which is the
stopgap
reason
with
why
the
they
ACA
started the program.
until the other side of the coin can get their act together. Because supposedly the Republicans are saying we've got a plan, but nobody knows what this plan is. So I'm calling BS on that.
I don't think
if
there's a
you've
plan.
got a plan, throw it out there so I can see it.
Would that not make sense? If
Well,
you're
yes, it
talking
would.
about wanting to get rid of ACA,
Yep.
which apparently that goes through until the end of the year.
Until the end of the year. If they don't
If
do
you
anything
have
to do a stopgap on it.
plan, because the one side, basically the Republicans are saying that ACA is a broke system. Now, if
Healthcare is a broke system in this country.
if they're talking
Totally.
broke as in we don't have financial funding for it, or it's so exceeded what
Could
they
be.
anticipated, or
Could be
just
both.
mean that it doesn't work well. I think it's
All
a
of the
combination.
above.
Yeah, really.
All of the
Checking all them
above.
boxes.
Here's your ribbon.
You would think we've had how long to look at how this program functions?
Yeah.
How many years now that we've been dealing with it?
Exactly.
You mean to tell me
In all this time.
nobody's come up with an alternative?
And now we get out there and we say, we've got something better in the works. Okay, what is it?
We're not gonna tell you.
Well, and that's just
until
it.
we get our way.
Do you think that they might have a better reception to the no, we don't want to extend that because we're going to give this instead?
Think about it, okay?
So
As a parent, when your child comes to you, I have a problem, and they want you to solve it. What's the response?
What
Don't
is it?
just come to me with problems. Why don't you sit and start thinking on your own of what some viable solutions to your situation could possibly be? And then we can discuss it. Shouldn't our government be doing the same doggone thing? They see that there's something wrong,
that
come
you
up
have
with
to
options.
know, you have to know what the problem is to begin with,
Right.
and then you can start leading them towards the solution, which is what they should be doing, working both sides together on common ground to find a solution to the problems that they're fighting about.
Because they've got too many things going on in the background that we don't see.
That's true. We don't
The
know
machinations that transpire, and other individuals that get involved in things that are not actually part of government, but fund individuals in government through campaign.
well, which is a problem. Personally, I think we ought to get rid of campaign funding and donations.
I agree.
That needs to go. And anybody that wants to run for office will have a little fund
what I
within the
said.
government. And this is
it could
how
be
much
part
money.
of the appropriations
Ooh,
bill.
that's right. But everybody gets the exact same dollar amount to spend however you choose for
wouldn't that
your
make it
campaign. It would
fair?
it would be a fair playing field. And that's what we need.
But
Fair
with this
playing
whole
field.
situation, they really need to come together. They need to sit down and have conversations.
Yep.
Look at the numbers, and none of this, well, we have this big whole issue and this many people are going to lose out and we're not dealing with the numbers. You got to deal with the numbers.
You got to. You
can't, you have teams of people that look into this information constantly.
Well, some of them are on furlough and the other ones aren't getting paid. So how
Nobody's
much looking are they
working.
going to be doing? Exactly.
I wonder if they're collecting
Nobody's working.
unemployment.
I don't think so.
I don't think so because they're not technically unemployed.
No, they're not.
Wonder
They're
if
on
they
furlough.
What if they tried to get a SNAP card? I have to apply for SNAP because I'm not getting paid because the federal government shut down.
But then what
and I
happens
happen to
when they
work.
get back pay?
But they shouldn't
You
get
know,
back
and
pay.
that's something I'm
If
going to
you're
crow
not
about
working,
this.
you shouldn't be getting back pay.
I'm going to crow about this with the SNAP thing
should you
and
get
with the
back pay?
furlough because they were working when they were off. The
I can
emergency.
understand.
I could get the emergency workers.
I can understand
But-
the people that it was not of their choosing because they just happened to work for government entities.
An entity.
But them pick your descriptive word
Adjective.
of the individuals that are sitting there on Capitol Hill in Congress that are orchestrating this whole mess. None of them should be collecting a dime the whole entire time that they're shut down. All of their stuff, all of their extra money to go out and spend to do little dinners and lunches and all that junk, all the fare to drive them all over the place.
With each other.
The places that
Who
they're
hollering at.
temporarily living
out on the
in.
floor like they're mortal
flying
enemies.
around in their little private everythings. None of that should be paid.
Private
They shouldn't
everything.
have any of that crap to begin with. Boy, howdy, if we could get in there and redistribute how things are done, things would change and heads would roll. Knock, knock, Mr. President. You thought Elon was going to take care of business. Let us have a stab at it. We'd have our heads on a pike in no time.
Yeah, that wouldn't
Get
work
rid of
well
those
for
two.
us.
There goes our slush fund. We won't get our boutique
Well,
planes
but
anymore.
that's just it. There doesn't need to be any slush funds.
There shouldn't be.
There shouldn't be. There should be.
I'm sorry. If
Government needs to be streamlined.
Well,
If you're serving,
Needs to be.
you ought to be just like any other business person. If you got to fly someplace, you buy your own ticket, you write it off on your taxes.
How
I mean,
about-
there's so much waste.
how
There's
about
so
this?
much waste.
When the whole thing was started, people that went and served in Congress originally did not make a paycheck. I don't think that came into play until the 1900s, the late 1900s.
I don't remember, so I wasn't alive then.
I don't know.
I
I'd
might
have to
be
look into
vintage.
that.
I'm just not that vintage.
Anybody has the details on that information, go ahead and
I
let us
could
know.
probably Google it real
But
quick.
Think about it. They went...
What was the question?
They great. She pays attention to me. Wonderful. So they would go in, they'd serve, but the whole thing of it was you would serve your constituents, and when your term was up, you went home and went back to work. These people, they come in there. Most of them already have a lot of money to begin with, but they end up walking out of there a lot richer than they walked in,
Well-
and they sit there and they
And they can
Marinate.
vote themselves. They can vote themselves raises. Okay.
they marinate for years.
This is
in
more
office.
vintage than we thought. Congress started getting paid in 1789 when it was established, with members initially earning a daily rate of $6.
$6.
$6
That was a lot
day.
of money in 1789, though.
Well, it was. That was for both senators and representatives. But that was only when they were in office. And if you recall, they only had certain times
the
that
traveling
they would
to
meet.
get to Washington for some of the people
Maybe
was
they
a
lived there
few
in
days
tents along
drive
the river. I don't
in
know.
a cart.
And then in 1816, Congress decided they needed to be paid an annual salary because $6 a day for when they were actually working wasn't good enough. So they ended up getting $1,500, and then it got repealed 2 years later because the people got ticked over that.
Good people.
So in 1718, after the repeal of the annual salary, Congress reverted to a daily rate of $8. And then in 1855, they went back to the annual salary of $3,000.
Well, look at that.
And then in 1992, the 27th Amendment, which requires that any change to congressional pay cannot take effect until the next election year, was ratified, which explains why they want to stay in office, because whatever they vote for themselves, they want to get it again. So, we gotta,
They just, I just don't think they should be getting paid as much as they do, because
I don't
what the
think so
base,
either.
the base is like 174,000
something like that, yeah.
And
this is what we deal with. People
but they
not
don't
getting the
work
benefits that they
all
have.
year, because let's
they
face
don't.
it, they're only in
They were
session.
on hiatus until the first anyway, weren't they? They were supposed to go in and take votes and
They were
whatever. They've
supposed
been
to do
turning them
something.
down.
But see, this is just it. They're only in session a certain number of weeks a year.
Yes.
And then they're off doing their handshakey things and their sorted deals.
Shaky, meeting
And-
their constituents.
But then a lot of them take your Congress. They have to reseat themselves every 2 years.
Yes.
So guess what they're doing when they're not in office?
Oh, they're constantly
They're out
campaigning.
there campaigning.
They're
So we're
constantly
paying
campaigning.
them to campaign. I
Yes,
think
we
it's
are.
wrong. They should.
I agree.
And if you want to make a dollar amount of earn, then if federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour, guess what you're going to get paid?
Well, and not for nothing. It doesn't matter. If they need to just get together to do something about these people that are not getting paid and having to work, and do something with that, and do something with SNAP, they've got to get their act together. And if those are the only two things that you pass, just put through a stopgap something. Well, no, because they're playing games. They got quit playing games. Quit playing games, people. Get your crap together and start serving we the people that you were elected for. You need to come to terms, come to an agreement. I don't care what it is.
Oh, you care what it is.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
It's important what the agreement is, because if they do something really off the
you're
wall,
right.
see?
No, I mean, I do care.
Oh, I'm right, and it's been recorded. Oh my
care.
God, vindication. It exists.
See, it is a thing.
All right.
Okay, so there we have it.
We
want the SNAP program. We want them to get their act together and do something with it.
I can understand needing to cut back on it a little bit.
I can understand that too.
They got to make it reasonable.
Yes.
You got to be able to help people get along, but they also need to help people get out there and get employed.
Well,
and make employment so that
they
it's
need
a living
to create
wage.
the hand up that it was meant to be.
Yep.
And not the hand out that it has become.
Right.
And I totally understand that. But there's people out there that do need help.
Right.
And you got to get off your fannies and you've got to get something done.
Yeah.
So that these people get the help that they need.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and of course they think they were doing a great thing by upping the minimum wage and all that, but that's just really actually made
that's always
the problem
a
worse.
talk for another day.
Okay. Don't forget to go out to couchtalk.com, go to our store tab, get yourself a Common Ground shirt, hoodie, hat, mug.
Like, share, follow, tell your friends. Yeah, subscribe. Tell your friends.
Subscribe. I don't know.
It's couchtalk.com.
That's
COWCH.
Check all our great stuff.
TALK.com.
Alrighty. So.
Okie dokie. Well, there you go. Coffee's on.
Chaos managed.
That's Couch Talk.